Hello friends, in this video we will understand how to identify the given signal is energy or power. Also, we will understand how to calculate energy or power for a given signal. Let us begin. First of all, we will understand how to identify whether the given signal is energy or power signal. So in last video, we have already seen formulas for calculation of energy as well as power. Now, after applying the formula for given signal x of t, if energy comes out to be finite, so if energy comes out to be finite, then we say that that particular x of t signal is an energy signal. So we assume that x of t signal is given to us, for which we are trying to identify the type of the signal, whether it is energy or power. Now, to talk about power, first of all, we'll establish relationship between power as well as energy. So power is always energy upon t, where limits t is tending to infinity. So this is the relation between energy and power, and from the given formula also one can identify this relation is correct. So now from this relation, if the energy is finite, we'll try to identify what could be the power. In this case, power is equal to, now limit t is tending to infinity, it is energy by time. Energy is finite, so energy will be finite divided by t, where t is tending to infinity. So it is like this: finite upon infinity, anything upon infinity is what? Zero. Moral of the story, power will be zero. Now I'm coming to the conclusion. If for given signal x of t, if energy comes out to be finite and its respective power equal to zero, it means it is definitely energy signal. Now to be quite clear, for given x of t, if energy is finite, then it is 100% energy signal. If energy is finite, power bound to become zero because of the relationship between energy and power which is given to us, right? Now, for let's say some other x of t, this time power has come finite. In that case, it is called as a power signal. Now, we know that power is equal to limit t tends to infinity energy by time. In this case, power is known to me. I want to know what is the value of energy. In that case, I can rewrite this formula as E equal to limit t tends to infinity t times p. Is that right? Now, value of p is finite and value of t is tending to infinity. In that case, after calculation, you will understand energy tends to infinity. So let's come to the conclusion. For given signal x of t, if power is finite, because of which energy becomes infinity, such signal is called as a power signal. Therefore, I said in the last video that there is no signal exist for which energy is also finite and power is also finite because of the relation between energy and power. So that formula do not really allow both quantities to become finite at a time. For third category, which we say neither energy nor power signal, it is for such x of t for which energy is also infinite and power is also infinite. So here energy also becomes infinity and power also becomes infinity. For such x of t signal, we categorize it into neither energy nor power signal. So this is how from the values of energy and power we do identify whether it is energy signal or power signal. But in the gate examination, we really don't have so much time for given x of t to apply the formula to solve for the integration, and then after that you will come to know whether it is energy signal, power signal, or neither energy nor power signal. Better we should have some trick. I mean, just by observing the graphical characteristic of given x of t, one can easily identify whether it is energy signal or power signal. But to go on to that level, first of all, we need to really solve the problem by using the classical approach. Okay, that classical approach means a traditional approach. So let us begin with this. So this question says identify whether the given signal is energy or power. So whenever you encounter such question, first of all, it is suggested that you should always start with energy formula. So now let us recall energy formula. It says energy equal to integration minus infinity to infinity mod of x of t whole square dt. Is that right? Now from the figure it is quite clear that amplitude of signal everywhere it is a real quantity. It means the given x of t signal is a real signal. In that case, you can rewrite this formula integration over minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. Remember, you can write x square of dt only when the given x of t signal is a real signal. And how do we understand whether it is a real signal or not? Just by looking their amplitudes. As you can see, its possible amplitude can be 5 or minus 6. Is that right? So nowhere amplitude is going imaginary. Is that right? So absence of j term indicates it's a real quantity. So let us solve this integration now. We know that even though we are integrating over minus infinity to infinity, x of t does not exist from minus infinity to plus infinity. In fact, if you observe this, from minus 3 to minus 1, x of t value is minus 6, and from 3 to 5 seconds, x of t is positive 5. Let me just note it down. You can say x of t value is minus 6 when t is lying between minus 3 to minus 1. Thereafter, x of t value is equal to positive 5 when t is lying between 3 to 5. Is that right? So now we will have two possible integrations here. That is, first integration would be ranging from minus 3 to minus 1 and the other one would be ranging from 3 to 5. So now I'm writing that formula, energy is equal to minus 3 to minus 1 x square of t dt plus integrating over 3 to 5 x square of t dt. Is that right? Then energy equal to from minus 3 to minus 1. Just check what is the value of x of t. From minus 3 to minus 1, x of t value is minus 6, but after squaring it, it becomes 36 dt plus integrating over 3 to 5. Now between 3 to 5, value of x of t is 5, but we need to write x square of t, so we need to square 5, that is 25 dt. Taking constants out, 36 is a constant, so integration becomes t. Lower limit is minus 3, upper limit is minus 1 plus 25 is constant, integration is t, lower limit 3, upper limit 5. So it becomes 36 into 2 plus 25 into 2. So it becomes 72 plus 50. It is 122 joules. So value of energy for given signal, it is 122 joules. Now if energy is 122 joules, can I say that this energy is a finite one? So energy is a finite one. And we know that when energy is finite, power is by default 0, and therefore the signal is an energy signal. So this is the conclusion that this is an energy signal. I'll be solving the same problem but by some other approach. That is what we call as a graphical approach. So this is the analytical approach I have followed. Now I'll go for a graphical approach. So let us understand how to apply a graphical approach here. So same example I have taken. We know that energy formula says integration over minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. Is that right? So it demands to square the signal first. Am I right? So let me just square the signal. So after squaring, that is x square of t, signal will look like this. So let us talk about the duration from -3 to -1. So what was the amplitude between -3 to -1? Just check graphically. Value of x of t was -6. Am I right? So what is the square of the signal? Again, why we are squaring? Because formula demands to square the signal. So after squaring, of course, -6 will become 36. That is positive 36. So negative amplitude will become positive amplitude, and the amplitude is 36. Is that right? Same thing. Now we have to square the whole signal. So we have to take care of this duration also. That is from 3 to 5. Between 3 to 5, amplitude was 5. After squaring it, it becomes 25. So we are talking about 3 to 5 duration on time scale. After squaring, it becomes 25. And now this new signal is known as x square of t. Is that right? So now energy is equal to integrating over minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. So the signal x square of t is now known to us, and it is this signal. Am I right? We know that. What is meant by integration? Integration means area under the curve. I repeat, integration means area under the curve. Meaning that instead of integrating, if I could take area very easily, then it becomes very easy for me to solve such problem. Am I right? So what I'll do, consider two rectangles here, rectangle number 1, and this is rectangle number 2. And if I just take their area and if I add them, then it becomes integration of x square of t dt. So first of all, we'll understand area 1 and area 2. Both of them are rectangles, so just apply the formula length into breadth. So finally, energy is area 1 plus area 2. So length in first case it is 36 and the breadth is 2. As you can see here, this is 2 and this is 36. Is that right? So this is 2. Okay. Similarly, area 2 will be length into breadth. So if you notice, length is 25 and the breadth is 2. So again, if you calculate, you'll get 122 joules. So now we have seen both the approaches, that is actually doing integration, and secondly interpreting integration as area under the curve, and just by calculating two areas and summing them up we can calculate energy directly. So according to you, what do you think, first method is preferable or second method is preferable? Then most of the students says, sir, second method is preferable because it is quite easy, we don't have to really go through an integration. But let me tell you, this method is having some limitations, and limitations are, if the given x of t signal is having constant amplitudes. What is meant by constant amplitudes? Just see. In first case, if you see from -3 to -1, amplitude is -6. Am I right? So amplitude is -6, and -6 is the constant value. Whereas from 3 to 5, amplitude is 5. That is, again, we have got constant value. Constant value means independent of time. So whenever amplitudes are constant, that is independent of time, this method would be comfortable. Now let me take an example here. For example, if we have such x of t, okay, now if you see, its equation is like this, that is x of t is equal to, we have to say, m times t, that is a straight line passing through origin. Now if you calculate the slope, change in x is 3 and change in y is 6, so 6 by 3 it becomes 2. So x of t is 2t here. Am I right? So if such signal is squared, then it will become 2t whole square, and 2t whole square is 4t square. And let me tell you, 4t square becomes a parabola. Okay, so 4t square, since it has become a parabola, first of all, you cannot draw its exact nature, and secondly, even if you draw the parabola, it becomes very difficult for you to find area of the parabola. Is that right? So whenever your x of t are time dependent, this second method, that is a graphical approach, is useless for you. So you should know the integration method also. But in case if x of t given having amplitudes which are independent of time, that is constant, in that case graphical approach is useful for you. So I'm sure you got my point. In this case, let me come to the conclusion. The given x of t signal is an energy signal for which energy is finite and power is zero. So I'm just giving you one important point. As I said, every time it is not possible for us to go through those lengthy procedures and identify whether it is energy signal or power signal. So now I'll give you a clue. Just by looking at the graphical nature of the given signal x of t, one can identify whether it is energy signal or power signal. But yes, if they are asking you the value of energy, then there is no option but you have to solve this problem. But here the question was just to identify whether it is energy or power. So how to identify without solving the problem? So just concentrate. First question, for the given x of t signal, I mean, I'll ask you the question depending upon its graphical nature. Do you think that looking at x of t anywhere with respect to time, amplitude is going to infinity? Answer is no, because from -3 to -1 amplitude is -6, and from t going from 3 to 5 seconds amplitude is +5. So nowhere x of t is going to infinity. So first nature of the signal, that it is a bounded signal. So it is a bounded signal. So bounded signal means it is bounded by amplitude. Okay, amplitude nowhere going infinite, everywhere throughout from minus infinity to infinity, x of t will have a bounded value only. Is that right? That is finite amplitude only. Secondly, is it infinity duration signal or a finite duration signal? Just check. It is a finite duration signal, because from minus infinity to -3 signal is 0, and from 5 to infinity also signal is 0. So if you really see length of the signal, it is ranging from -3 to +5, meaning that this signal is a finite duration signal. So first point, what we have noticed, it is a bounded signal, that is bounded by amplitude everywhere, and second, that it is finite length signal or finite duration signal. If the given signal is bounded in nature, that is with respect to amplitude, and also finite length signal, that is finite duration signal, then definitely the given signal is an energy signal. I'm sure you got my point. First of all, it has to be bounded in value. Second, that it should be finite in length, that is finite duration signal. In those cases, the given x of t signal is always an energy signal for sure. So I request you to note down those things. At the end, we will summarize all the things and we will write a final conclusion. So now three problems are given. In first problem, it is e to the power -at u of t. In second problem, some graphical information is given, and third signal u of t signal is given, and we have to only identify whether a signal is energy signal or power signal. So we'll start with a first one, e to the power -at u of t. Let us recall the formula. Integration over minus infinity to infinity. Now I can write x square of t dt easily because there is absence of j. Okay, no j exists in the given expression. Therefore, I can write x square of t instead of writing mod of x of t whole square, minus infinity to infinity. Now, if you square this, it would be e to the power -at u of t, again multiplied with e to the power -at u of t dt. Is that right? Now e to the power -80, e to the power -80 will become e to the power -280, e to the power -280 dot. Now u of t into u of t is always u of t dt. So some students do not understand how u of t into u of t is u of t. It is very simple. You know that how u of t signal looks like? This is u of t. Now this is another u of t. So what if these two signals are multiplied? 1 into 1 remains 1. So resulting signal is again u of t only. Now the question is, u of t does exist from 0 to infinity only. Is that right? So u of t value is 1 only during 0 to infinity, else u of t is always 0. Therefore, it is going to change our limit of integration. Remember, u of t always changes limits of integration only. So I can now say 0 to infinity e to the power minus 2at. Now we know that from 0 to infinity, value of u of t is always 1. So we need not to mention u of t now because u of t value is equal to 1. So I can write dt only. Now it is a very simple integration. E to the power minus 2at by constant minus 2a, and limits are from 0 to infinity. I'm taking 1 upon 2a out. We know that actually there is a negative sign, but I'm not taking that negative sign out. I'm taking a positive sign out. In that case, instead of doing higher limit minus lower limit, I'll do it reverse. That is lower limit minus upper limit. So now it becomes e to the power 0 minus e to the power minus infinity. So wherever there is t, just substitute lower limit and upper limit. E to the power 0 is 1, and anything raised to minus infinity is always 0. In that case, now I got to know that energy is equal to 1 upon 2a joules. Is that right? Of course, a would be some positive constant which will make energy finite. Since it is finite, definitely power is equal to 0. And now we are coming to the conclusion that it is an energy signal. Is that right? So now let us try to know what is the nature of this signal. Like if you see e to the power minus 80, it is this kind of curve. We have already seen this, how e to the power minus 80 curve looks like. Now it is multiplied with u of t. We know that if a signal which is present on both the sides of time, that is for positive scale of time as well as for negative scale of time, and in case if it is multiplied with u of t, it becomes completely right-handed signal because u of t does not exist for left hand side. Therefore, e to the power minus 80 into u of t nature, if you try to draw, you'll get this kind of curve. So this is e to the power minus 80 dot u of t curve. Is that right? Of course, it is a negative exponential, therefore it is decaying curve. And dot u of t indicates it is right-handed signal. So only on right-hand side you will get decaying curve. And naturally it will start with 1 because at t equal to 0, it will become e to the power 0, and e to the power 0 is 1. Finally, the question is, do you think that the signal is bounded in nature? Bounded in nature means anywhere do you find with respect to time amplitude is going to infinity? Obviously, answer is no. So first point what I note that it is a bounded signal. So first, my observation that it is a bounded signal. Second, is it having finite duration time or infinite duration time? So by observing, some student might say, sir, it is a finite duration signal. So no, it is not a finite duration signal. You know what? This will become 0 only when t becomes infinity, because e to the power infinity, that is e to the power minus infinity, becomes 0. Is that right? So only when t approaches to infinity, the signal will, I mean, go to 0. So now if you see the duration, this total duration of the signal is infinity. So this is infinite duration signal. If you recall, in the last figure, it was bounded signal also, but it was a finite duration signal. Remember, bounded signal with finite duration signal is 100% energy signal. But if the signal is bounded but having infinite duration, then its amplitude must be decaying. I repeat, if it is a bounded signal but having an infinite duration signal, then its amplitude must be decaying in nature. As you can see, amplitude is decaying in nature. So I would say it is infinite duration signal with decaying amplitude. In that case, the given signal is an energy signal. So for energy signal, we got two important observations. I'm sure you are noting this down. First, if it is a bounded signal, also it is having a finite duration, it is energy signal. Second, it is a bounded signal along with infinite duration with decaying amplitude, it is 100% an energy signal. So e to the power minus 80 dot u of t, you really don't have to go through this full procedure. Just draw it graphically and just identify whether it is energy or power. So for every energy signal, power is always 0. Let's move to the next problem. Now the next problem is identify whether this signal is power signal or energy signal. Now this is a u of t signal. You know how u of t signal looks like. So let's not get into the graphical approach first. So I'll just put it into formula. Energy says integrating over minus infinity to infinity x square of t dt. Is that right? So again, integrating over minus infinity to infinity x square of t, it means u of t into u of t dt. We know that u of t into u of t is u of t only. So ultimately it has become integration over minus infinity to infinity u of t dt. But you know that u of t does exist only from 0 to infinity. Therefore, integration limit will change from 0 to infinity. But during 0 to infinity, value of u of t is always 1. So I would say integration 1 dt. So now energy equal to t with lower limit 0, upper limit infinity. So energy is tending to infinity. We know that when energy tends to infinity, one should understand definitely it is not energy signal. But then when it is not energy signal, you cannot say that it is a power signal. Yes, there is a possibility that it can be a power signal, but there is a third possibility that when energy is also infinity and power is also infinity, it is neither energy nor power signal. So one thing you should be clear, that energy tends to infinity, you cannot come to the final conclusion that it is a power signal or neither energy or nor power signal. So we need to check formula for power also. For power signal, it is equal to limit t tends to infinity 1 by 2t integrating over minus t to t x square of t dt. Again, it is limit t is tending to infinity 1 upon 2t from minus t to t. X square of t means u square of t. U of t into u of t is u of t itself. We know that u of t is something which is right-handed signal. So definitely from minus t to 0, it will be 0. Therefore, it is going to change the limit of this. Limit t is approaching to infinity 1 upon 2t 0 to t, and during this positive duration of time, value of u of t is always 1. So it is 1 dt. So limit t is approaching to infinity 1 upon 2t. Integration of 1 is t with lower limit 0, upper limit t. So limit t is tending to infinity 1 upon 2t becomes t. Your t gets cancelled, and now there is no scope to substitute t value infinity. Power value is straight away equal to half watt. So what does that mean? Your power is finite, energy is infinite. In that case, it is a power signal. Therefore, u of t is power signal. Is right? But as I said, we need to see the graphical approach and try to identify without actually solving this problem. So let us try to draw u of t. Now, first question, do you think that signal is bounded or unbounded in nature? So it is quite clear that it is a bounded signal. So first of all, we know that it is a bounded signal. And so far, even for energy signal, it has to be a bounded signal. Now, only on the second category that we are going to see, it would be a power signal. So let us see. First of all, it is a bounded signal. Nowhere amplitude is tending to infinity. Everywhere amplitude is finite. In fact, it is 1 for right hand side and it is 0 for left hand side. Now the question is it a finite duration signal or infinite duration signal? Answer is it is infinite duration signal because it is never ending. I mean, it is going to remain 1 even though t is approaching to infinity. So it is infinite duration signal. Now the question is, if it is a infinite duration signal, in that case, do you think amplitude is decaying or amplitude is constant? No, amplitude is not decaying because amplitude would have been decaying. In that case, it would have been energy signal. In this case, even though it is infinite duration signal, but during that amplitude is throughout constant. So observation says infinite duration signal with constant amplitude. Then it is called as a power signal. So let us summarize what we have studied. We will talk about observations for energy signal. If the given x of t signal is bounded in nature along with finite duration time, it is energy signal. Second observation for energy signal, that it should be bounded also. And secondly, in case if it is infinite duration, then amplitude must be decaying. Okay, in these cases only the given signal is an energy signal. Secondly, for power signal, what we have seen, that first of all it has to be a bounded signal. Yes. Secondly, it has to be infinite duration signal with constant amplitude. Please note that the amplitude is not decaying in nature. Okay, amplitude should be constant in nature. In that case, the given signal is a power signal. So just by looking at the graphical behavior or graphical characteristic of the given signal, one can easily identify whether it is energy signal, power signal. Also, one can also identify whether it is neither energy or nor a power signal. We'll also see what is the third category. One more problem is left, that is for this x of t, we also had to identify whether it is energy or power. I'm sure you must have seen this is either sampling function or it could be a sinc function. We cannot comment on this because we don't know what are their zero crossing points, because depending upon that it is differentiated whether it is sampling or sinc. But then behavior wise it could be a sampling function or sinc function. Okay, whatever. First of all, you can see that amplitude is decaying on both the sides. Is that right? Amplitude is decaying on both the sides. Secondly, is it a bounded signal or unbounded signal? So first observation says it is a bounded signal. Is that right? So at one fine time it will reach to 0. We don't know when it will reach to 0. So it could be infinite duration, but at the same time it is having decaying amplitudes. Therefore, whether it is sampling function or sinc function, it is always energy signal. Is that right? So just by observing the signals, one can understand whether it is energy signal or power signal, right? One more problem is given in which they say calculate power for the given signal. This time, as you can see, they're asking you to calculate power of the signal. So they have by default informed us that it is a power signal. So let us assume this is x of t signal, okay, plotted with respect to time, and it's a periodic in nature, as you can see, because a periodic signal is that signal which does exist from minus infinity to infinity. First of all, this particular pattern should be repeated, okay, right from minus infinity to infinity. Only in that case it is called as a periodic signal. And now mark my words that even periodic signals are power signals. I repeat, even a periodic signals are always a power signal. So you can just note that. Secondly, you don't have to use a conventional formula for power signal that we use for other signals. So other than periodic signal, we can use that power formula for periodic signal. Now I'll make it quite easy formula for you for power calculation. Again, if you use a traditional formula, you're okay with it, there is no problem. You'll get the same answer even after by using this formula or by using the traditional one. So I'm just making it simple. 1 by t integrate over a time period x square of t dt. Now, what is meant by integrating over a period? See, this integration can be from 0 to t. Is that right? So this is one possible integration. 0 to t means you are integrating over a period. Or it might happen that you may be integrating it over from minus t by 2 to t by 2. I mean, this is also, you know, integrating over a time period that is t. Therefore, I just kept it in general. Okay, you integrate it somehow, but you just integrate it over a period. And this is how you have to take integration. And also you have to divide by the same time period t. And here you don't have to really substitute t is tending to infinity. So I'm just making it free from limits. And now you can use this formula. But this formula is applicable only when the given signal is a periodic. And periodic signals are always power signal. Please remember that. Periodic signals are never energy signal. Periodic signals are always power signal. So now let's get back to the point. We have to go for power calculations here. Now if you observe, you can see that t is equal to 1 second. So we believe that this unit, that is x-axis, is in terms of seconds. T value is equal to 1. So let us try to get value of x of t here. So as you can see, it is a straight line passing through origin. So I can write x of t is equal to m times t. So now let us identify the slope. So change in x is 1 and change in y is 3. Is that right? Therefore, it is 3t. So slope is equal to 3. So x of t is equal to 3t between 0 to 1. Is that right? So now we have decided that t is equal to 1 second. And we will be integrating from 0 to 1. Finally, power is equal to 1 by t, and t is equal to 1, 0 to 1, 3t square, because we have to write x square of t dt. Now power is equal to, if I take 9 out, because 3 square is 9, and now we are integrating for t square. Integration of t square is t cube by 3. Lower limit is 0, upper limit is 1. Now if you solve this, you'll get power equal to 3 watt. So finally, the value of power is equal to 3 watt, right? So whenever the signal is periodic in nature, it is always a power signal. Thank you.